Would you agree that it's fair for college football players to receive no pay for everything they do for their schools and all the money that they bring in? If your answer is yes, my goal is to convince you otherwise and inform you on why I feel college football players deserve money for what they do. Whether you are a college football fan or not, I believe you can appreciate these athletes and agree that they should get paid for the following reasons. College football players bring in a tremendous amount of money for their schools, especially at major universities. In addition, college football players don't have time to work or have side jobs with their hectic practice schedules and games on the weekend. Lastly, I believe paying college football players could teach them a thing or two about responsibility and encourage them to make wise financial decisions later on in life. To begin, it is important to understand that not all college athletes are offered full-ride scholarships and that some walk on and still face the same struggles that any college student would. School is expensive and it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon. We all face hardships and difficulties, and just because you see a star athlete on TV, that doesn't mean they don't go through the same things that we do each and every day. With that being said, it's not an easy task to deal with everything that's put on a college football player's plate. They are the ones that put on the helmet and pads and perform for their schools and sacrifice their bodies. Many players have not made it to the NFL due to injury or even paralyzation, and that's the risk these players face every time they step on the field. Shouldn't they be rewarded and see some of the money that keeps flowing in? As of right now, that's not the case, and I think that should change. College football coaches, on the other hand, are a different story. According to USA Today, the average salary for head coaches at major colleges is $1.64 million. That's just the average. Some coaches can make even more than that. Business Insider reported that Michigan's head coach Jim Harbaugh makes over $9 million a year and is the highest paid coach in college football. While some of these coaches are very deserving and work very hard to get where they are, I think the players are deserving too of at least what a part-time job would pay them. They are what the fans come to see, and they fill up the seats in the stadium. Some schools have even larger stadiums than NFL teams have, such as Ohio State. The Buckeyes Stadium holds nearly 105,000 people and sells out all the time. College football fans don't only show up to the games, but also buy gear and their favorite players' jerseys, which the players also don't see that money. To me, the whole thing is unfair, and I don't think these athletes should be paid like professionals. They are deserving of something, especially the ones who weren't granted a scholarship. In addition, these players really don't have the time to sustain a job during the football season. So they aren't being paid, and they also don't have jobs or a source of income. I understand that with a scholarship, most necessities are taken care of, like housing and food, but that isn't for each and every player. Many stars of the NFL were just walk-ons in college and not scholarship athletes, such as Clay Matthews and J.J. Watt, who were the underdogs and now play on Sundays in the spotlight. College football players usually spend about 40 hours a week practicing, which is the same amount of time put in by someone working a full-time job. USA Today also stated that college athletes are equivalent to full-time workers. With practice during the week and games on the weekend, their whole life is devoted to football. Even if these athletes did have time for a job, they can only make $2,000 a year under NCAA rules. On the other hand, players can't accept any gifts or favors from anyone, and they will be penalized if they choose to not comply. Schools like USC and the University of Miami have been punished for this, and there are many other schools that have as well. According to BuzzFeed, even if a player's coach that makes millions of dollars wants to give him money for a candy bar, he is not allowed to do so. The whole program is dragged down when these rules are broken, not just the players at fault. As a result, players not guilty of accepting illegal benefits or money are penalized the same way and could miss out on games that give them national attention and impact their NFL future. All of these problems could be avoided if the players were rewarded for what they do for their schools. Lastly, I think paying the players would impact them in a positive way and benefit them in the long run. If they receive paychecks, that would give them a taste of money some have never had before. Most college football players leave straight from high school and have never had a job in the past. Giving them this taste of money could help them make wise financial decisions and teach them how to budget. The players would learn the value of their money and make their little bit last, just like you and I would at our first jobs. Paying players could also teach them important life lessons such as responsibility and discipline. According to the Sportster, if players were paid, the NCAA could implement suspensions without pay as well. This would encourage these athletes to make smarter choices and play by the rules, because in the back of their mind, they'll know that if they mess up, they will be suspended without pay. This is a great idea in my opinion, and as long as college football players aren't overpaid, they won't be able to abuse it like they do in the NFL. To conclude, I believe when looking at both sides of the argument, it is clear that college football players should receive at least some amount of money. They work extremely hard to make their schools and fans proud, and there are people that prefer the college football over the NFL, including myself. College football players deserve pay because they are the ones bringing in the revenue and selling out the stadiums. They also don't have enough time on their hands to work as well as play football and focus on education. Finally, paying these players could teach them life lessons and show them how to be smart with their money. While there's not much we can do to change the NCAA, we can help as fans by staying supportive of our teams and making sure we continue to buy tickets and watch games. The more money that comes in, the more people will talk about how players deserve a slice of the pie as well. And I'm going to finish up by showing you my 2-minute clip.
They've got smoothie bars. They've got, it's ridiculous now. These college football programs, the big ones, they don't even know what to do with the money. They're giving Botox to their cats. They don't even know what to, arcade centers, $25 million on a scoreboard. They don't know what to do with the money. So I had a tipping point moment yesterday, and a tipping point is, Malcolm Gladwell wrote the book about tipping points. That's when there's a magic moment when an idea, trend, social behavior sort of crosses a threshold in America and catches fire, wildfire, right? And here's a tipping point moment for those that think you shouldn't pay the college athletes. And I was always under the impression that for the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, the 90s, 2000, a lot of these athletic departments weren't Ohio State. Yesterday, the USA Today reported that the SEC alone, just the SEC conference, posted revenue of $527 million during the first year of the SEC network. Okay, time to give the cat Botox. Okay, it's time to now pay players. Now, I don't know how you do it exactly, a stipend for every athlete, because you'll have to pay all the athletes. You have to pay all of them. Maybe $237 a month a week for the athletes. Then for the transcendent guys, the Cam Newtons, the Johnny Manziels, the Tebows, the Reggie Bushes, they get a big check when they're out. I don't know how you do the amateur professional status thing. I don't know. I don't know with Title IX. I don't have all the answers. But I'm not stubborn. I changed my mind because the opposite of stubborn is evolving and growing, and I don't want to be stunted. Even people who you see as sort of stubborn, Nick Saban, when he hires offensive coordinators now, they speed up the tempo, they spread the ball out. I'll never be a stubborn, rigid guy. If you can prove me, if you can show me, if you can tipping point something, okay, I'm in. We have gotten to a point with college football now when an individual conference network made $530 million, when Washington State, Kansas State, and Oregon State can build $40 million weight rooms, there's enough money out there.